When things go wrong as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must but do not ever quit. Success is a failure turned inside out. Let's talk and clear the clouds of doubt.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, dear viewers from around the world, to your favorite program, Let's Talk, with your favorite host, Malik, of course, on your favorite channel, Huda TV. And would you believe, someone recently told me, Brother Malik, maybe you shouldn't say that. Maybe Let's Talk isn't their favorite program, and maybe you're not their favorite host. But you know what I said? Too bad. We're going to keep saying it anyways. You guys give us a call. It's 002-0238, 555-248 or 249, 002-0238, 555-248 or 249. We have a wonderful, interesting, controversial, and a politicized topic today, which is civil rights in the United States of America. And we have a very special guest. We're honored to have him and truly pleased, all the way from Houston, Texas. He is actually the founder of the Council of American Islamic Relations chapter in Houston, Texas. He's a physical therapist by trade from the University of Texas, where he holds a PhD. However, he's a Muslim activist by heart, which is why we have him here today, as well as our American revert friend all the way from Durham, North Carolina. He's a great friend of Huda TV. You've seen him on The Straight Path, as well as Let's Talk. I'm talking about, of course, Mustafa Moore, as well as Dr. Tawfiq Hussein. Assalamu alaikum, both. You guys, thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming back, Brother Mustafa, and thank you to Dr. Tawfiq for being here as well.
Thank you
so much. And thank you. Of course, we have our studio audience. MashaAllah. Assalamu alaikum. You guys, how are you? All right, you guys, thank you guys for joining us for another exciting edition of Let's Talk. Let me remind the viewers, today we wanted, when you guys call into our number 002-0238, 555-248 or 249, the call in question, I want you guys to answer this question. Do you think Muslims in America enjoy more civil rights than Muslims living in Muslim populated countries? That's an interesting question. Let me say it one more time. Do you think Muslims living in America enjoy more civil rights than Muslims living in Muslim populated countries? I'm looking forward to hearing your phone calls. I think it's a good question. What do you guys think?
It's a great question.
It's an interesting one and a controversial one. Dr. Tawfiq, of course, you are a physical therapist by trade with a successful practice in Houston. So why civil rights?
Well, since the first moment I traveled to America, I found out that the environment over there really, it's a unique environment. And I found out one of the factors of success is you have to understand the environment that we live in. And I found there's a great challenge, for Muslims in America. So I thought about, well, I cannot live isolated. I have to be integrated into the society without assimilation.
Okay.
And I have to be,
good point.
yes, and I have to have a voice that Americans can hear, and without any fear, because unfortunately now Muslims are picked on in America, and they try to marginalize the Muslim community at large. So I decided to go into this route of being active in the civil rights issues, because I really believe that justice is a bottom line for any successful society.
Excellent point.
Yes.
I think I want to get in later in the program about the black civil rights movement in the 1960s, what parallels we can draw, and that's where I'm going to draw your experience, Brother Mustafa. But before we get there, I wanted to ask Dr. Tawfiq, CARE, I believe, was founded in 1994. I believe it's the largest Muslim active advocacy group. Has it been successful, in your opinion? You guys have been here since 1994. Has it been successful?
Yes, Alhamdulillah, CARE really has been successful. First of all, the fadl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And second is the participation from the Muslim community. Because Muslims nowadays, they are more aware and more actively involved socio-politically. So you got the support from the Muslim community, but we cannot deny the fact that we have a lot of friends from American people who are not Muslims, who really believe in the vision and mission of CARE. That's why we have a nice coalition group. And you find this at all levels, in every city and every state.
And actually, that's an excellent point, because in the African-American civil rights movement in the 1960s, a lot of Caucasian people were supporting them and with them. So I think for us to succeed in America, we have to have cooperation from everyone. Brother Mustafa, I want to ask you, as an American Muslim, you are American and you are Muslim. You were born in America, your father was born in America, your grandfather was born, is that right?
Yes.
Your great-grandfather was born in America also, right?
Yes.
So is there a contradiction, in your opinion, from being Muslim and being American?
Well, for myself, you know, I'm not I'm not upset with being an American. I like America, you know, but I have to admit that when I first became Muslim and I was in America, I had a tough time, you know.
Okay.
But
But before you became Muslim, you're already African American, so already you have, let's say, a different set of circumstances in the United States
Yes,
with regards to
yes.
civil rights.
Yes, that's true.
So do you feel you were treated, how were you treated before you became Muslim as an African American? How are you treated now as African American Muslim?
Well, I mean, you know, I had the stereotypes. I had to live with the stereotypes, you know, of being a black man in America.
Right.
And, you know, that was hard within itself. But then after I became a Muslim, it like quadrupled.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But what you're such a positive guy though. So what helped you overcome these obstacles and these challenges? Because obviously, mashallah, you're a practicing Muslim, so it didn't stop you.
No, it didn't stop me because I believe in what I'm fighting for, or you know what I'm living for.
What you're living for.
What I'm living for.
Yeah.
You know,
good point.
and you know, my goal is Jannah.
Right,
you know?
right.
And you know, as much as they fight me, it's a benefit for me. Like the Prophet alayhi salam, every situation for the mu'min is a good one.
Right.
You
yeah,
know, so however they come at me, you know, it's a benefit for me.
Yeah, mashallah, that's an excellent point. But Dr. Tawfiq, you have a different set of experiences. You also are an American. You've been there since 1992.
Yes.
You spent many years in the United States. You are by all means an American. So do you believe there's a contradiction between being Muslim and American in your situation?
I really believe that there is no contradiction at all, because if you look at the Islamic values and American principles, you find it's the same, based on equality,
Right.
and based on freedom, based on justice.
Okay.
So the values are the same.
Right.
However, there are some sects who really try to label a certain minority group because they have a certain agenda,
Right.
and they benefit from that.
Right.
But we as Muslim community in America, we really enjoy the freedom. And if you look at the history, you find that Muslims maybe in 70s or 80s, they have maybe a few masajid.
Right.
Now, in one city like Houston,
Yes,
we have
fine.
over 100 masjid
Mashallah.
in Houston.
Right, that's
the
amazing.
community are growing.
Right.
And alhamdulillah, when you grow, you have increment in numbers,
Right.
but also we're looking for the quality now.
Quality.
We try to make
Yeah.
Muslims, yes. And
Yeah.
as brother mentioned, mashallah, that it's a challenge.
Yeah.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned even in the Quran, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين. Then we have to have the patience.
Yeah.
But patience with action.
Patience with
Not-
action. Okay.
Yes, that's why you find even the theme of care is put your faith into action.
Right.
That's our theme.
Excellent. And continuing this idea, Dr. Tawfiq, what about the future of Muslims in America? Is it brighter, optimistic? How can we look at it? What about city council, state senators? Are
I
we gonna-
do believe we have a bright future. And when I say that, I'm not talking about only Muslim future in America, but I believe the future of America by having Muslims is
Right.
a bright future.
Right.
It's for America.
We benefit the country, every country we're in.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
Without a
certainly,
doubt.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We
The
have
country would crumble without the Muslims.
Yeah, right.
Yes, we
Of
have
course.
like nowadays we have two brothers who are Muslim Americans in the in the state. I mean in the Congress.
Keith Ellison,
Keith
right?
Ellison
Yes,
and
yes,
Andrew
yes.
Johnson,
Yeah.
and we have also even the chairman, or he was the chairman of the board of CARE National. He was Mr. Larry Shah. He was the state representative of North Carolina.
Really?
Right,
Yes.
mashallah, yeah,
Wow.
right.
So alhamdulillah, and even at the local city, we have the first time he was running for 3 terms.
Right.
Mr. M.J. Khan, he was the first Muslim in the city council.
Mashallah.
Wow.
And he did a great job, really,
Mashallah.
for Muslims.
We have a couple guys in the studio audience have visited America. I know this young man right here before the episode, Muhammad Adil. You were from Mississippi State, Jackson State University, Mississippi. What was your experience there as a Muslim living in the deep South?
Well, actually, as in a black-dominant university, it's called Jackson State University.
Okay.
And it was really specialized on, the studies there were really specialized on human rights and civil rights, and people are very hospitable there. So I didn't actually find any problem practicing my religion.
Mashallah. Is
Actually,
really
it was nice. I worked with a Muslim community there, so it
Mashallah.
was very nice with me.
So we have a
I
lot
didn't
of
find any
positive
problem,
experiences. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brother Muhammad Adil. From Jackson State University, mashallah. Are you planning on returning to the United States?
Yeah, inshallah. hopefully, yeah.
What would you be doing? Where would you be going?
Yeah, maybe Utah, inshallah.
Utah.
Utah State
MashaAllah.
University.
Excellent, interesting place. Thank you, brother. I know this young man. He's a Let's Talk regular. This man right here. Tell us, you've been to the United States as well. You were telling me before the show.
Yes, I was in Pennsylvania. I was in a state university called Clarendon, University of Pennsylvania.
Oh, excellent. And what was your experience there, brother?
I was the MSA head,
MashaAllah.
Muslim Student Association.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah, we did a lot of good work there. The people were very open-minded. They wanted to know more about Islam.
And you felt the American people accepted you and they weren't hateful towards you?
No, I was in a very what they call conservative place.
Right.
People were open-minded to know more about Islam because they hear all the time about Islam from the newspapers, from TV channels, but they didn't have the chance to actually expose to Islam or a Muslim,
right,
to deal with him and ask him about different details about Islam.
Right.
So I believe, from my own experience, that universities are a good place to tell people about Islam, what Islam is, and to get people, even if they don't accept Islam, but at least they can help Muslims to have the rights or to defend their cause.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Certainly appreciate it.
Yeah.
What do you think, in your opinion, Brother Mustafa first, and of course Dr. Tawfiq right after that, what are the biggest challenges facing Muslims in America? How do you overcome these challenges?
Well, the difference is one of the biggest challenges. As Muslims, we have to pray in America.
Right.
And I mean, it's not like, here how you have a masjid everywhere,
Here in Egypt, right?
Yes. So sometimes I know I personally would have to pray outside. If I'm outside and it's time for the salat, I would have to pray outside.
Right, yeah.
And that's when you see the secret America come out.
What do you mean by that, brother?
Well, like when you pray, people like maybe they'll just gawk at you, what I'm saying, like
extremist.
Yeah, or like this is something that they've never heard of, or
Right.
But I mean,
how do you overcome it? Because it's a challenge.
You
have to
continue.
overcome it.
We know why we know why we pray. It's an obligation to Allah Azza wa Jal.
Yeah, of course.
And I mean, there's nothing in the world that can benefit you like that salat. So I mean, it's much better for you to pray.
Yeah, of course.
So I mean, I don't let them stop me from my prayer. Like I even faced problems on my job.
Right.
On my job before I left, my teacher, my boss rather, he would take cigarette breaks. He would take cigarette breaks.
Right.
And I mean, like maybe 3 or 4.
Okay.
And when I asked, could I pray?
He says no.
He told me I would have to get off the clock.
Right.
I would have to. I would
not
have to
get paid.
Yeah, I couldn't pray on the clock.
Yeah, right.
But he could take a cigarette break on the clock.
There's challenges. Okay, but you overcame it by sticking to your deen, basically, and having a positive outlook.
Definitely. Yeah. I have a deep love for Islam.
Yeah, so basically,
I know it's the truth.
Yeah, mashallah. Yeah. I love your positivity. I feel the same way. Dr. Tawfiq, your experience obviously a little bit different. All of our experiences are different.
Yeah.
What is your experience with the challenges facing Muslims in America? And a challenge has to be overcome. So how can we overcome them?
Well, I want to just comment on the two
Go ahead.
brothers who mentioned. I'm really happy to hear that, kind of experience you have, guys.
MashaAllah.
And also, I believe that American people, they are afraid from unknown.
Okay.
If they see somebody who's practicing something different, or they're going to be like weird to them.
Yeah.
I think it's our duty to explain to them, because we are the comers on them. Even though the brother is considered as born American,
Oh, sure, yeah.
but I think
From the beginning.
if we explain to people what we do, they might accept it in a much better way.
Yeah.
Meaning,
Unfortunately,
like,
I don't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
But that it sounds a lot easier than what it is.
It depends on the target audience too.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. There's a vast majority of Americans who wouldn't care to hear it.
yeah.
Well, we have to talk to the ones that will care.
Yeah,
right?
but let me explain to you, brother. Meaning, one of the brother, for example, he was praying, guess where? He was praying in the courthouse, in the parking lot, between cars.
MashaAllah, this brother dedicated.
I don't think that brother, he used the right way to perform his obligation or perform his, prayer.
Okay, what's
Meaning, I want to just explain to you this situation.
Go ahead. Okay, go
he
ahead.
was surrounded by like 10 of FBI's and police people. They came to investigate that. I think he put himself in this position. What I do, brother,
Okay, go ahead.
if for example, if I'm in the airport, I will go to the security people there. I say, sir, I want to just let you know, I'm a Muslim, and this is the time now for prayer. I have to perform. This is the duty. I have to perform it. I'm going to pray right here. Is it okay? As you said, he doesn't care. He said, yeah, that's fine.
So this is a different approach, doctor, that you'd like to use.
I believe it depends.
Transparency.
Yes, it depends on the approach that will give you the experience.
Sure. I understand your point too, Brother Mustafa, and I understand your point. It's an excellent point. I've experienced both, sometimes.
Yeah.
But like you said, challenges are there, so we have to come out of our shell and address them at some point.
Right.
And that's a big point. Contemporary challenges. When I was in San Francisco last year, we had something called the Peter King hearings. I don't know if you were in Egypt at that time. Doctor, you brought this up before the episode. It was an excellent point. Thank you for reminding me.
Sure.
That was something that, as an American, I was very disappointed about. It was like McCarthyism, Stalinist Russia. They had a bunch of senators up there condemning basically Islam and Muslims to politicize their own careers. We have to go to a break. Right when we get back from the break, I want to hear your thoughts. Okay, Dr. Tawfiq?
Sure.
Okay, you guys stay tuned for more Let's Talk Civil Rights.
Ask Hoda.
Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to a new edition of Ask Huda.
I have 2 questions.
Please go ahead. You can read it in Arabic and you can also understand the meaning in your own language. The different tafsir and the interpretation of the meanings of the Quran are available in almost every language that exists on earth by the grace of Allah. The water of Zamzam is for whatever intention you drink it with. Salih from Egypt, his father has the way and he asked about how can he help him. Very good question.
Can they give a zakat to any of the dawah centers?
The ibadah or the act of worship is a part of the unity of worship. It has to be paid to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and in accordance with the guidance of His Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose whom He wills subhanahu wa ta'ala for His mercy, for His messengership, for the revelation to be revealed. This is not for the human beings to make that decision. If a person would turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sincerely, truthfully, asking for forgiveness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised to forgive. We have as Muslims a duty, and that is to recite the book of Allah, to ponder over the verses, the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to act according to the Quran. The mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encompasses everything, but who would this mercy will be for? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent to all mankind. So the ummah or the people of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam are all mankind since the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam till the day of judgment. Why waste our life without getting to know every verse in the Quran, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us?
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Let's Talk. You guys, we're having a really interesting discussion about civil rights. So give us a call live, 002-0238-555-248 and 249, and answer my tough question. I asked you guys, do Muslims in America enjoy more civil rights than Muslims living abroad throughout the Middle East and Muslim-populated countries? Good question. I don't want to answer it. I want you guys to answer it. We'll let Dr. Tawfiq and Brother Mustafa answer those questions as well and comment on them. Dr. Tawfiq, before the break, we were talking about this, what was this called here?
Peter King.
The Peter King hearing,
Yeah.
where it was like a witch hunt against Muslims in New York State. That was, I think, last year. Can you comment a little bit about that?
Yeah, actually, Peter King, he raised this phobia of radical Islam.
He's a state senator of New York.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, of New York. He did not talk about radicalism in America.
Okay.
If you talk about radicalism in America, we would accept that because this is our duty as American Muslims to, raise the awareness about the danger of anybody.
Yeah, there's more neo-Nazi groups, by the way, than any Muslim extremists. There's more neo-Nazi groups and skinhead groups.
Absolutely.
Wow. Yeah, which the state, which the guys, the district attorney has mentioned that.
Yeah.
But anyways, go ahead, doctor. I'm sorry.
So we oppose that. We raise the issue of, if you want to talk about radicalism in America, will be happy to be part of this discussion. However, he insists on talking about radical Islam.
Right, right.
And this is a very dangerous message to average American, that Islam,
It's radical.
when you talk about radicalism,
It's scary.
associated with Islam.
Right.
But the wonderful news is, and I'm really taking this opportunity to inform Muslims all over the world that we have even, Congress people like Sheila Jackson Lee.
Okay.
She is the one from Houston. That's why I'm so proud to mention her name, because she's my, Congress representative.
Okay.
She is the one who opposed him, and she challenged him actually in the hearing. She
Mashallah.
challenged him. So Muslims found that somebody who's not Muslim,
Right.
but at the level of high caliber, like a congresswoman,
Right, defending them.
to really meet that challenge and really explain to him that this is absolutely wrong.
Keith Ellison was crying in that hearing, wasn't he?
Keith Ellison also
Right.
was crying because he felt like this is a big insult,
Yeah, right.
to his religion. So, but alhamdulillah, I think the hearing, there's no benefit really out of that. It was wasting time actually.
Right. It was to politicize his own career.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
might have been a waste of time, but I'm sure that they approved their objective, which was to spread the fear of Islam throughout America.
This is where you guys come in. You have to
But
fight
you know,
that.
brother, there is a wonderful ayah. وَيَمْكُرُونَ وَيَمْكُرُ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. Every time there's something negative about Islam, guess what? Always, it turns to be a positive situation for Muslims.
Inshallah, that's
and
great.
Islam.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
So it's always like that, and we learn in care that any negative situation, we have to make it either a win-win situation,
Yes.
or take advantage and make it a positive situation.
Yeah, we have to. We have no choice. That's the only way
Yeah.
forward. Anti-Sharia bill. What about that, doctor? And what about the FBI learning their ideology from Islamophobes? We don't want to mention their names because we don't want to get them
Yeah.
implicit with you. But go ahead, doctor.
Yeah. Unfortunately, these people, they were hiring people talking about Islam and giving workshops about Islam and Muslims. But those people, they have a certain agenda,
course.
and we call them Islamophobes,
Right,
because
right.
their agenda is to put fear in the heart of American Muslim. And it's very dangerous when these people who are in the government or the government level,
Right.
they've been taught about Islam
From these people.
in a very negative way,
Yeah.
a very wrong way. So we believe that, you know what, you want to know about Islam and Muslims, I'm the best messenger who can give you the real,
But
about
Kerr
religion.
succeeded on getting those bad people out. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. Even President Obama himself,
Right.
he put a stop to this.
Okay.
And
Wow.
he said yes. And
Right.
that was really a great success.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was something disappointing when I hear that. And Brother Mustafa, as you may not know, or you may know, this has become a business in the United States.
Absolutely.
One of these guys who's a famous Islamophobe, he's written books and gives lectures. They publish his tax return on the internet, and he had made well over $100,000 a year, was living a very nice life.
Wow.
So this has become unfortunately, it's become a business to insult Islam and Muslims, hasn't it, Dr. Tawfiq?
Yeah. As you said, it's a business now, but I believe that it's up to Muslims nowadays.
Okay.
Because the danger of this is, these people, they are really changing the Constitution. And
This is the danger.
And this is what American, regardless to your religion, Americans at large,
Right.
we all enjoy, the best thing we enjoy in America is the constitutional rights. So
Right,
it's up to Muslims nowadays, it's up to our determination to hold fast on preserving the constitutional rights.
Do you think Muslims are actually working towards this goal more than other Americans?
Absolutely, because average American, they are not affected by that. But we as Muslims, we are the one who been under the heat.
Yeah.
So that's why we have to educate others about the danger of those people.
It'll certainly affect them. They
will.
don't see the long-term effects of
If
it,
not
but
now, it will affect
it'll come
later.
up and bite them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Brother Mustafa, you're from North Carolina, right?
Yes.
And your parents are as well?
Yes.
So I'm sure your parents have told you stories about the 1960s African-American civil rights movement, which included things like, let's see here, civil resistance, nonviolence, Montgomery bus boycott, Montgomery march from Selma to Montgomery, Rosa Parks, Greensboro sit-ins. Do you think, and this was, I think, produced great results, do you think Muslims of America should do something like this?
Well, it's a good idea, but I think that they may put themselves further under the gun and put Islam in more danger.
More danger,
You
okay.
know?
Because not the right time.
Yes, because people are going to look at them as, oh, look at these, radical, Muslims.
Right.
They already see them as radicals.
So it'll be worse, you think?
Yeah, it'll be. I think it'll be
Too far,
like
too
the boomerang effect.
Right.
So, yes.
Come back to bias. Dr. Tawfiq, what do you think?
I think the best way is to understand how the system works.
Okay.
Because somebody else already penetrated that system long time ago and make the system works for their advantage.
Yes, this is a great
It is,
point, Dr.
again,
Tawfiq. Yeah.
It is up to us. We want to understand how the system works. so we can make the system work for their advantage. And Muslims have a great value, meaning that we are not selfish people, absolutely not. Even if you look at the message of Islam, we have sent you, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, as a mercy for who? For mankind. We are not selfish at all. We worry about our neighbor. We worry about our colleague. We worry about our, families.
Right.
So Muslims really worry about everybody else as a human being. So when I'm saying that, I really believe that if we understand how the system works, it will benefit America in general.
Okay, excellent point.
Go
ahead, brother.
It could, but I mean, the Prophet ﷺ didn't follow the system. He didn't go along with anyone's system. He went along with what was brought to him.
Because there was no system at that time.
There was a system.
A social system. I see your
There
point.
was certainly a
different
system.
approach. Right. So, but Dr. Talek, I think has a different approach. Which I think Kira has a different approach, which I think is effective as well. Although I see your point also. Okay, I want to go back real quick to civil rights. This is what the African American people achieved. Brown versus Board, 1954, ends racial segregation in Virginia. Public Schools Civil Rights Act of 1964, which Dr. Talek, you know this stuff better than me. Voting Rights Act of 1965. These were all goals that they had that they achieved. What should be the goal for Muslims these days? And we have to have goals in order to achieve our goals. So what should our goals be?
Well, first of all, we have to alleviate this fear. And I believe education.
Okay.
We have to educate others about our religion and about us as Muslims.
Okay.
We have to let them understand that we are part of the society. We are part of the fabric of American society.
Okay.
We cannot be marginalized because you are wasting my energy and time trying to defend myself. You should help me to give you the treasure of what I have as Islam.
Yeah.
So I believe we need to really get out and we need to educate others about who we are, and we need to get more integrated into the system to really benefit others. Benefit ourselves and benefit others about Islam.
Right. Sure.
As long as we've been marginalized, people does not see us as a true picture of who we are.
Right. Sure.
Unfortunately, we've been misrepresented over this time.
Yeah, I think what's really important as well, both of you guys, Dr. Talk and Brother Mustafa, what affects, people say, Muslims in America, they're a small number of the overall Muslim Ummah, but they're unique because what happens in America affects Muslims all around the world, right?
Because they're on the front stage.
Yeah, it's a pivotal place. But what does CARE do for non-citizens or people? We've seen so many bad things, like Guantanamo Bay, I remember Abu Ghraib broke my heart. I almost want to cry just thinking about it. What has CARE made any steps towards addressing these problems?
I'm going to tell you about that, but also if you let me please just talk about, we have advantage, guys, as being minority. You know what our advantage is? If you look in the political system, you found that 2% as a margin, this 2% of population is really the one who give the victory to either party. So
right.
everyone go to vote equal 20 does not or don't vote.
So they can swing the vote,
so
is what you're
absolutely.
saying. Yeah, right.
So
okay.
we have power.
Right.
As American Muslims,
right.
And we encourage people to, of course, to be a registered voter, and we encourage people to get out and vote. Because we are 501c3, non-profit, tax exempt, we cannot tell people who you vote for. However, we educate them about the importance of being an active registered voter.
Sure.
So you can make your voice heard.
Sure. This is a big problem. I think we're scared to really just be part of society, and that's an excellent point, Dr. Tawfiq.
I'm sorry, what's your question?
Well, what about non-citizens? Okay, we're talking about American citizens. What about non-citizens? What about Guantanamo Bay, Abu Ghraib, Bagram Air Base? These things that really broke our hearts, not just Muslims, but Americans and people all around the world who broke their hearts to see these human rights violations. Has CARE taken any steps to address these concerns?
Well, it's not only CARE really, but you find like almost 50% of American people, they were against this policy.
Yeah, sure.
Torturing and
this bad stuff.
Yeah. So it's not just CARE really, but it was like a big issue, and it was a point of interest for every American almost.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's an excellent point. CARE did a couple of wonderful projects, Brother Mustafa. I'm not sure if you recall. They did Explore the Quran, where they distributed for free, I believe, 50,000 Qurans.
Wow.
That was very nice. As a result of there was a controversy about burning the Musaf.
burning of the Quran.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
that was a nice response. They explored the life of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, which they did in result to cartoons being depicted of the Prophet ﷺ. As far as, and my favorite was the library project, that you guys, this is such a wonderful thing. They want to put a book in each library, because libraries are in every city in America.
Yes.
So there's no information about Islam. I know a good brother, he bought one of those Carib Musafs and he put it in our local library, because there was nothing there. So what is the wisdom behind these projects, Doctor?
See, brother, the wisdom behind this is you try to offer a real and authentic resources about Islam and Muslims. So we choose 18 of the authentic books talking about Islam and Muslims, and we put it as a set in the library. But the problem is, again, I'm going to refer back to knowing the system, how the system works. Do you know, brother, if you don't go and read these books, they will take it away from the library. So we send another message to community members, guys, go to the libraries and encourage others to go and read these books. Because again, in the system, or in American system, if these books in the library for a certain period of time and nobody touch it, they will take it somewhere else.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah,
that is a good source of dawah.
Yes.
In fact, I became Muslim because I went to the library.
MashaAllah.
I was looking for the Quran, and when I found one, I asked, can I check it out? And he told me no.
Really?
See?
Yes. So, so I know the system. When I heard that, I said, no, I don't want to touch that book.
So what year did you become Muslim, brother? What, 2005, I think you said, or something like this?
Well, actually, it was in 2004.
So this project, maybe it was a project of care, because it was 2004, I think. Or 2002.
Around that time,
Yeah. I believe we have a question in the studio audience.
Actually, not a question, more of an emphasis
Go ahead,
on what he said. He said something about the Americans benefiting from following the Islamic laws and stuff like that.
From Muslim communities,
Yeah,
right.
basically, if you look at the American law, their judicial system and all, they're basically following what Islam says. Deep down, they know it's right, but because of the fear, they can't just come out and say stuff like that. Like, to your question, since no one has answered, I think it's safe to say Muslims in the United States, if they follow the law and live well, they will live better than even non-Christians in any other part of the world, even other non-Muslims, any part of the world, because the American law is basically what Islam says. Talking about that topic, if you look at the Muslims in the Middle East, you really can't compare them to the Muslims in America. Honestly, you just can't.
Why? What do you mean?
Because first of all, in America, if you make a mistake, they're going to put you to law. You follow the law judicially. Everything will go as planned.
Right.
But the Americans use most of these Middle Eastern leaders as their puppets. For example, I'm in Egypt. Talk about Hosni Mubarak. We all know his story.
Hopefully we'll have a better future, inshallah, in the future.
Exactly. So, talking about Americans following what Islam says, it's like a by story. I met an Irish lady who stays in America, and she was like, when I look at Muslims, I think Islam is hard. I said, no, you don't judge Islam by what Muslims do. You actually judge Muslims by Islam. She said no one can change her view on atheism. I said, no, if you go into Islam, because you're a very open-minded lady, if you go into Islam and read our books yourself, believe me, you'll change.
Right, excellent point. Thank you for wonderful comments. You know, you guys, I believe that it's important that we do this litigation and we fight for our rights in the United States. But at the same time, I think African-American people experience a lot of discrimination, although they've achieved these great litigation and civil rights movements. But today, when were you born, brother? What year were you born?
72.
So you've told me you experienced a lot of discrimination and have to live to the stereotypes of being a black man in America, although you have your full rights on paper in court. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, Dr. Tawfiq, I mean, if we achieve these successes in a courtroom, will we ever enter the hearts and minds of the American people where they won't discriminate against us?
See, American people, they respect the law.
Okay, right.
And you go through the system.
Right.
You make the system works for your advantage because somebody else is using it against you.
Right.
So you have absolutely all rights to to do so. So there's no problem for American people to accept that.
Right.
And this happened even in Oklahoma. Oklahoma is known as, the southern, and known as, the Christian. They are hardcore Christians, right? And they passed the anti-Sharia bill that we're going to talk about in Oklahoma City. However, Kerr, representative, he's an attorney, he took this to the Supreme Court. And alhamdulillah, to the federal judge. Right. And alhamdulillah, that bill was defeated.
And that was from you guys?
Yes,
that's right,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kerr, alhamdulillah, has 25 full-time attorneys.
Oh, okay.
I'm not talking about volunteer. I'm talking about full-time.
MashaAllah.
So this is, alhamdulillah, this is good resources for Muslim community to use.
Yeah, we are improving, inshallah. You guys are going to go to a short break. We'll have more questions from the studio audience in the next segment. Inshallah, you guys at home, stay tuned. Give us a call. We're waiting for your call, so stay tuned for more Let's Talk.
Dear viewers, Hoda programs can be watched in the English section of the in-flight entertainment directory on board all Saudi airline flights, domestic and international. Sit back, relax and enjoy watching Hoda's entertaining and enlightening shows on your trip. Hoda wishes you a safe and successful journey. Hoda, a light in every home. Europe's forgotten heritage.
This is a sad reminder of the past history of the Muslims in the city. Nowadays, there are no Muslims anymore. These are the mosques that have remained. And it is really sad.
Wait a second, this is Morocco. No, this is Tunisia, Algeria, North Africa, Egypt. No, this is all Europe, and this is all part of Spain. Islam spread first in Africa, and then from Africa it came over to Europe, and then it did developing work in Europe. Now, we look the other way around nowadays. The compass was invented by the Muslims. Many important inventions came from the time of the Muslims on the Iberian Peninsula. Instead of people becoming less in battles, as we normally know, as we know in battles obviously people die, but no, what was happening? The Spaniards recognized and realized the superiority of the Muslims and the treatment that the Muslims gave to the Christians and the Jews in Spain at that time, that they happily accepted Islam, many of them.
And not over the fountain, as we've seen it before in other places in Greece. Now, it has some Arabic on top, as well as it had some Arabic down, where the tap used to be, or where the water was coming out.
Pack your bags, grab your passports, and join Dr. Steph Karis as he takes us through Europe and rediscovers Europe's forgotten heritage, only on Hoda TV.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to Let's Talk. We're having a great discussion here. We're talking about the Council of American Islamic Relations. It's very interesting. Brother Mustafa, I didn't know about CARE until about, 3-4 years ago. I believe you told me in the break also, you didn't know about CARE until recently.
No.
We're so happy that they exist and that they're working hard for the sake of Muslims and for the sake of justice and liberty and social understanding. But how did you guys begin? In 1994, but how and why?
Well, two brothers really, they started CARE. Brother Nihad Aoud and Brother Omar Ahmed with Brother Ibrahim Hooper, actually they were three.
Okay.
And Brother Ibrahim Hooper until today, he is the media responsible person for, he got a lot of attacks day and night.
Yes, I've seen him on the news. Yeah, I've seen him.
And Brother Nihad Aoud, he's very popular on Al Jazeera especially and other CNN and other American news. Started by this in Minnesota, and they moved the office to Washington DC, and they started this is like the executive branch, or you can say this is the headquarter office.
Okay, Capitol Hill.
Yes, headquarter. And they have really wonderful office. Even you can see Capitol Hill from the office. That tells you about the position is very important also.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that says a lot. Yeah. But how did you guys get started, Doctor?
See, I believe that these two brothers, when they have the sincerity in their hearts about the work, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put the blessing in that work.
Right.
And now it was like you can say that that was a light really spread all over the states. Even in Canada, we have CARE in Canada now.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So alhamdulillah, we have like 35 chapters all over the states.
Okay.
And every chapter has full-time employees.
Okay.
The work does not really depend on volunteers only, but we have professional people working in every office, in CARE.
Okay, great.
CARE started in 1994,
right?
And CARE became popular when I don't know if you know about Nike case.
Right. Sure. Nike's a huge brand. Everybody knows Nike.
Yeah, they put the name of Allah on the shoes.
On the bottom of the shoe.
Yes. So CARE.
I didn't know about this, Brother. I used to wear Nike a lot.
Yes.
I didn't know about this, Doctor. Go right ahead.
I never heard that, but I mean, I know how
They operate.
They've had cases in the black community.
Nike has.
Yes.
For stuff like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they put Allah on the bottom of the shoes.
Yes, so Alhamdulillah, CARE stood up and they raised the voice and they said, we condemn that, and this is, of course, this is not acceptable because this is a great insult to us as Muslims. And Alhamdulillah, they were able to enforce Nike to pull all the shoes from all over the factories all over the world.
MashaAllah.
And of course, a written apology, and Alhamdulillah, that was a great success.
Yeah, that sounds like it, yeah.
We have local cases also. You know, like for example, in Houston, imagine a social study teacher.
Okay.
She was teaching the kids in the class, in the high school.
Okay.
Islam spread by the sword, and she brought them articles from the internet saying, Imam teaches his followers how to beat up their wives.
What?
Imagine this was taught in public school in America.
Okay. So what happened? You guys found out about this?
We sent letters to the principal, to the superintendent, again, knowing the system, going through the system.
Okay.
To make the story short, Alhamdulillah, we were able, first time in the history of public school, that 4 people from Islamic faith, they went to every class this teacher was teaching, and they were able to correct the misunderstanding that this teacher was putting in the mind of these children.
Yeah.
One of them was an American lady who happened to visit Egypt. She had a great experience. She flew from Florida at her own expense. She came to inform the kids or the students about their personal experience living in a Muslim country for 10 days.
MashaAllah.
That was a great experience.
She was not Muslim?
She was not Muslim.
Oh, that even sometimes has a better effect on non-Muslims if you bring somebody. Excellent point. I bring some interesting facts. I want to get both your thoughts, then we'll go to the audience. It says here in January 2002, CARE had received 1,658 reports of discrimination, profiling, harassment, even physical assaults against people who appeared to be Arab or Muslim, which was a 3-fold increase from before 2001. What are your thoughts, Brother Mustafa and Dr. Tawfiq?
Well, I know of myself personally, I experienced some very harsh reality check from 9/11, and at the time I wasn't Muslim, but I had a lihya and I had dreadlocks.
So people assumed you were Muslim and they gave you a hard time.
Yes. I mean,
on the streets of North Carolina.
Like life-threatening things.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know anything about Islam. I didn't discover Islam until like 2-3 years later.
So just because you appear to be Muslim, subhanAllah.
Yeah.
Dr. Tawfiq, can you speak about that? That's a lot of reports of discrimination. So you guys have your work cut out for you.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a big challenge.
Yeah. See, I believe fear is a great factor. If anybody has fear, they will not accept somebody else because out of fear.
Right.
So what happened is, because of 9/11, everybody look at Muslims or Arabs as, you know, they reject or they try to reject, you know, this ethnicity or this culture.
Right.
But I believe as long as we try to integrate and we try to educate, that will change. But this is the history of America. You know, every time something happens, they have to pick on a certain group.
We call that a scapegoat, you know,
the scapegoat,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of seems how it is. Yeah. But it is alarming. CARE did say here, the status of Muslim civil rights has deteriorated sharply, but this is your job. This is our work as Muslims, not just CARE. I mean, all work as Muslims to combat this. I believe, do you have any questions from you guys in the studio audience?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, brother. Go ahead.
It's more like a comment.
Go ahead.
More than a question. Both of you from America, and you see the situation there. But don't you think that maybe in America you have Muslim maybe have some more civil rights in real life than what we have in Muslim countries? The Muslim have in Muslim countries, not in just paper, in real life.
Yeah.
To practice their religion.
Yes, certainly do, Doctor. Go ahead. Thank you, brother.
I really believe that. To be honest with you, I believe that. And I don't want to tell you that I left my home country to go seeking for justice.
SubhanAllah.
Okay? And there was nothing against me at all. But I felt, you know, I was teaching in Cairo University here, but I felt some sort of, when people like, you know, they can get their degrees by other ways other than working hard to earn it, I felt injustice. And I went to America seeking for justice. And even this is the sunnah of life. Even Rasulullah ﷺ mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala established the country of, even if the country is not following Islam, but because of justice, Allah will prosper this country. And will put Islamic State down if there is unjust there. Right?
Right.
So my personal experience is, In America, you can really enjoy, freedom and enjoy justice. However, it's a history. And I think we should learn from the history that at certain point of time, a certain group, minority group, will be picked on. So we should learn from the history.
Right.
Like, for example, our brothers, African-American brothers, they have a great history. We'll learn from it. And we try also to learn from the Jewish community, because Jewish, believe it or not, they were also picked on in the 40s and 50s. Now, Jewish are very controlling. So we need to learn from how, and the unique thing about Muslims, in my humble opinion, is we don't want to control. We want to just live together.
Right.
And we want to succeed together, because we live in one country, and we want to succeed, all of us together.
Right. Excellent point, Doctor.
Yeah.
And building on that, we actually benefit from what the Black Civil Rights Movement achieved as Muslims, don't we? We benefit from the successes that they achieved also in the past. But you bring an excellent point, Doctor. Why is it in the Muslim countries they call it what they call rashwa, bribery, dishonesty, theft? Why is this so prevalent? I believe that we both agree, all three of us agree in the studio audience, it's because we've left the teachings of Islam.
That's right.
Right? Because we've abandoned
in America, they never had it.
Yeah. But they stick to these things better than what sometimes we have done in the Muslim world, because, I don't know, corruption, corrupt rulers, and people, I think, falling away from the deen, I think. So
I mean, if you're talking about like the deen, our deen of Islam in America, it's young. It's young. It's young in America. So it's not well known. So the majority of the things that they go by is their own legislations. They don't go by Islam. So you can't truly hope for Islamic justice in America.
Well, they don't go by Islam on a state level, we should say, because we don't have that kind of in many Muslim countries. And I don't want to be negative, Dr. Talk. I want to be positive, but there was a news story that really broke my heart. Her name was Shaima Al-Awadi. She was 35 years old, a mother of 5. Some man broke into her house and he beat her to death with a tire iron. And her daughter came home and saw her in a pool of blood. This was in San Diego, California. And she died 3 days in the hospital. And, I told my wife that story. I said, Mama, it made me really scared to go back to America. But this is the exception and not the rule. Can you speak a little bit about that case? And did CARE do any representation for her family?
Yeah. When these cases happen, the first thing we do, we report it to the FBI. Because we believe that the FBI, this is their job to investigate and find out. But we report it as a hate crime.
Yeah, as a hate crime, right.
Yes, because this really happens. You're going to find different things happen, different times, different places with hateful feelings. So we report it as a hate crime, and we also respect the law. So we're going to find out what is the result of the investigation of the
right.
FBI.
You guys follow up and go through the legal process, so to speak. Okay,
this is a new occurrence.
This was in last March in San Diego, California. She was just wearing a hijab. And there was a note found at her body that said, "You are a terrorist. Go back to your country." So it's clearly hate crime. So I think, inshallah, they will find this man or men and do this. Yeah,
he will be, of course, introduced to the court.
Yeah, most certainly. So interesting. I believe that CARE is doing a great work for the Muslim community. You left your physical therapy practice in Houston to open up the CARE chapter?
I was lucky because my wife, who's a great supporter, she's also my colleague. Okay. Even though when you say your colleague, you don't look at the age. Right? She's younger than me by like 10 years, but she's my colleague. So she's helping me really in the clinic and in our home care agency.
Okay.
And alhamdulillah, we're doing really great. That gave me a lot of freedom of time.
Right.
So I can really go and enjoy doing the volunteer work. Actually, all my kids also, they volunteer, and alhamdulillah, this CARE work for us, this is from the bottom of my heart as a Muslim. Because I believe if we establish justice, everybody will enjoy, like we try to create a sense of safety for the Muslim community.
Right.
So we all can enjoy the environment that we live in.
Yeah, of course. That's an excellent point. Because I don't know how you feel, Brother Mustafa, but when I live in San Francisco, I felt there was a community of Muslims that they allowed themselves to be marginalized, perhaps out of fear. And I believe if we don't speak out and become part of society and voice our concerns and just take our rights, then of course we will let other people speak for us. Do you feel that way as well?
Well, I mean, actually, I had a very good experience as a revert to Al-Islam and in the Muslim community.
Great, that's great.
Yeah, when I first became Muslim, well, actually, when I first started to practice Islam, I moved from the town that I'm from, and I moved to Durham.
Okay, Durham, North Carolina, right?
Yes,
right.
yes. So it's like 2 hour difference. And in this community, they were, Muslims, and of course, I was new to the deen.
Right.
So I mean, they showed me a great deal of love, and within the community, it was a beautiful experience. Of course, like the general area, they didn't really love Islam. They didn't really love the Muslims, but they appreciated them.
Okay, great.
Because
that's good.
the city of Durham is kind of notorious for its crimes
And racism being in the South.
No, not racism. I mean just
crime
crimes
in general.
crimes
Oh,
in
okay,
general.
right.
Yeah. So like the community that I was in, they were like, even someone had got killed, like for delivering a pizza.
Okay.
They killed the person, but this was before the Muslims
began moving there. So they appreciate the Muslims there.
Yeah. So when the Muslims came in there, they changed the whole community.
Mashallah.
It was like from drug related and all of this stuff,
right,
to where no one drinks.
Yeah.
And like if they smoke cigarettes in their house. They don't smoke in
outside.
public.
That's a great point, Brother Mustafa.
Yeah. The Muslims really changed the environment.
And that's what you're talking about, the fabric of America. We are benefiting the fabric of American society. We only have 30 seconds left. I just wanted to ask you, Doctor, if you can close by saying, what have you seen improve for Muslims in since you've been there in 1992, and what do you see in the immediate future? If you can just wrap it up in a minute.
Yeah, I believe there is a great future for Muslims in America, because the value of Islam matches exactly American principles. And alhamdulillah, you will see that the greatness in America comes from Muslims in America.
MashaAllah. You guys, thank you both for coming. I hope to see you guys again next week if you're available, inshallah. It was really an honor to have you, Brother Mustafa. And Dr. Tawfiq, it was a really amazing conversation. I hope to see you back soon, inshallah. You guys in the studio audience, I'm sorry I didn't get your question, brother, in the back. We will next episode, inshallah, if you come back. You guys at home, thank you for watching Let's Talk. But I'm disappointed nobody called in. But I guess we'll give you a chance to call in next week, inshallah. Same time, same channel. So I want to tell them we leave you in the care of Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're treading seems all uphill, when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're treading seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the dips are high, and you want to smile but have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but do not ever quit. Success is a failure turned inside out. Let's talk and clear the clouds of doubt. Success is a failure turned inside out. Let's talk